I'm Thomas, my wife Emily Dillard. And we have 6 children, and for quite some time, Westover has been our church home. Over the last 10 years, the Lord has really taken us on a journey that has been a trial in many ways. We've seen Him really working in our lives and in our children's lives, and it's been powerful, difficult, sometimes painful, sometimes encouraging. We've got to see the Lord working in so many different ways. About 10 years ago, the Lord started to lead us to consider missions. And a big part of that was just kind of watching our kids grow up at Westover and seeing fall global celebrations, seeing different missionaries come in and different families working all over the world to serve the Lord. And a desire was growing in our hearts to say, we want to be a part of that. And it started out small. We would host families at our home for fall global celebration. We'd eat meals with them. Our kids would play together. But over time, it just felt a growing desire to see what that could look like in our lives and our family.
So we served in Kenya for about 7 of the last 8 years. Tom served as a pediatrician and I homeschooled our kids, and we were just part of the team there in the community. I remember when we first went to Kenya in 2017, we got off the airplane and came out of the airport, had like 14 bags, and our kids were ages 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 10.
We still have a picture of the kids sitting around the suitcases with the luggage, just looking exhausted. It was very early in the morning. And then almost immediately, I'm being separated from my family.
I remember just standing there with these exhausted kids. I was exhausted too, of course. And they look up at me and one of the kids just says, "Mommy, what's happening next? Where's the car that's picking us up? Who's picking us up?" And I just got this feeling like, I have to answer that. I don't know. I have no idea, really. And so that feeling right there kind of describes the start of just the facade of control kind of just being ripped out from under us.
I'm sending them to a place that I've never been, I've never seen before, with people I've never met, and just realizing, okay, God, we've decided to trust you with this, and we have to continue trusting you every step of the way. It really was kind of even though it was the first step off the plane in Kenya, it was a true introduction to stepping out on faith.
We experienced a lot of hardship as far as relational difficulties, loneliness, just the ache that you feel inside, kind of leaving both sides of the ocean, really. We made great community over there, so coming back here was hard. Of course, we had community and family and friends here, so going there was really hard. Our kids, some of them experienced great loneliness and trials, and that was hard. And then just the death that Tom experienced in the hospital on a daily basis was very difficult for him and for us as a family.
In Kenya, I faced a lot of death, and it was a struggle not to bring that home. But at the same time, I knew that I needed to let my family know what I was going through. And for my kids, they don't really have a context for death and disease and suffering. But they saw me, and they saw me talk about challenging things that I had seen. And they would ask some questions, and they would see that, you get up and you keep going. You stand firm in the faith. We were to remain steadfast, and even in the midst of challenges and trials, being able to be at peace most of the time, and realize that the Lord is going to make a way and provide a way. It may not look like what we wanted it to look like, but He is faithful, and He's proven Himself faithful. When I think about the challenges and what God has really taught us through them, it's just the constant daily reminders of His faithfulness.
Along with our experiencing Fall Global at Westover, we also started reading missionary biographies to our kids at a young age with homeschooling, and that became like something that would just, our whole family could surround. Amy Carmichael is one I remember, Hudson Taylor, George Mueller. And then also there's a biography of Ernie Sturry, who was the one who started Tenwick Hospital where we were serving. And so those kinds of biographies would often be on my nightstand. And it would be something I went to, reading great stories of people of faith going through trials and hard things.
One of the biographies you mentioned was Ernie Sturry, who was the doctor who founded Tenwick Hospital. And the legacy that the Lord allowed him to establish there, even now, his son is one of our great friends and mentors there in Kenya, and really helped us. He and his wife helped us through a lot of hard times. So it's in the very distant past, the near past, and also currently, there are people who have been there with us along the way. So when I think about that great cloud of witnesses, the testimonies in the Bible itself are so encouraging. If you want to talk about a take-home lesson from our time in Kenya, was he showed himself to be faithful time and time again. And just the experience of that, being in a situation where we had no choice but to trust him and to see him provide, has grown our faith.
Our trials and our hardships that we went through mostly just taught me that my hope is only in Christ and that I have to stand on that. And I hope that that's what it taught our kids too. I think that we're all still in process and still on this journey, but
we're not perfect by any stretch, and I hope the Lord continues to grow our faith. But I think just experiencing his provision and experiencing his faithfulness has been something that I wouldn't have been able to do if I had not put myself in a situation where I didn't have a choice but to trust, but also something that I wouldn't trade for anything, even all the hard things, even the deaths, and realizing that my knowledge, my skills were not enough for what was needed at the moment. Even as I'm praying with these families, seeing some kids recover and celebrating with them, and losing other kids, and mourning with them, weeping with those who weep and rejoicing with those who rejoice, and realizing that in all of it, we can trust the Lord.
Yeah, I really have grown in my love for the Lord, my trust in the Lord, and him just being that firm foundation.